Welcome back to another creative exploration with me, Tammy Collins. Here's a peek at what we're going to create today. I have to tell you, I am absolutely in love with this piece. And this is sort of the culmination of what experimenting with things and playing with them does. If you've been following along, you've been watching a lot of tissue paper experiments and things that I've been doing. And so through that process, it has now led me to this piece, which I'm over the moon about. So what did I do? Well, I took a piece of tissue paper, I crumpled it up, and I put it on this wax parchment paper. I used a glue type medium, if you will. It's a mixture of Hod Podge and water and a little bit of a remnant of a matte medium that I just had. It was in the container, so I just put it in there and shook it up really good and just used that. So I stuck the tissue paper down. I didn't put the medium on top of the piece yet because I wanted to add color, which is something that we experimented with previously. However, this time I'm using a metallic watercolor, which is going to be a little bit challenging because it's watercolor. So it's a little harder to saturate this sort of gluey tissue paper, if you will. But it's an experiment. I'm giving it a try. I love these colors, and I just wanted that vibe and feel from those colors. This is a metallic watercolor set that I picked up for like $1. You know, I don't even know actually what this is called. It's just an inexpensive set that I got secondhand. So I'm using a sort of turquoise metallic here, and I'm going to add in a couple of other colors. And we're going to end up with sort of this turquoise and color and silver vibe. And, you know, I'm just getting the color on the paper. I'm not really thinking about creating a pattern or anything of that nature. I just want to get this color on here. What's happening is I'm basically hitting the high points of the tissue paper is what's actually happening. I'm trying not to get it too wet. It will rip a little bit. That's okay. I wanted it to rip a little. Okay, so now I'm putting in some of this sort of silver gray. It actually almost probably looks like a really charcoal color in the palette. Just a few little highlights of that. And this is gonna be actually a short and sweet video today. I'm so over the top about this. I'm actually gonna be I'm joined a art club, and there's a members exhibition, and we need to put 2 pieces in there, and I'm actually contemplating putting this piece in there. That's how much I love it. I don't know how well this metallic is going to translate in the video. It's like a pearlescent effect, if you will. Like it feels pearlized more so than metallic. So it has this shimmer to it. Okay, so we're going to get this on here. I'm going to take a spray bottle and just mist it a little bit to try to help some of the colors blend in a little bit better. I'm not going to overthink it too much or play with it too much. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to bring it back. And so now this is the dried piece, and I'm putting the same medium on top now. So I wanted the watercolor to sort of dry and lock in because I didn't want it to smear when I put this on top. I'm okay if it smears slightly, but it worked well. It didn't really smear. It worked out pretty good. So I'm just getting a good coating on here of this. It's the same medium like we had done in previous videos where we sort of encased tissue paper in a medium or glue to create a translucent style paper. I'm replicating that concept here, and hoping to achieve the same style, but I'm embedding this sort of metallic watercolor in it. So we'll get that on there really good, and then we're going to let it dry and bring it back. There was a couple spots where it ripped a little bit. I'm okay with that, and I kind of made sure there was enough of the product in there to create, you know, a nice seal. So this is the piece. I actually love both the front and the back, and I really couldn't decide which one did I want to use. For this particular piece, I'm going to go with the front. And so I cut it somewhat close to the size of my taped paper. It's not perfect, but I'm going to use the same product now to glue it down to the paper. And again, that product is kind of a hodgepodge of a matte medium, Mod Podge, water, and maybe a little bit of leftover glue in there. So I just kind of have that same container, and as it lowers, I just refill with a new mix, so it kind of becomes a concoction. And so now I'm getting it down onto the paper, and I'm going to use a paper towel to really just push it down. It will kind of reactivate the back of this paper, which we learned in the previous experiment, which is fantastic. It makes it stick really well. And then I'm just going to cut the edges. I'm going to really take my time here and get this a nice clean edge. I'm kind of putting my finger, if you will, on top of the knife on the opposite side where the blade is, if that makes any sense. You can kind of see me doing it there. That really helps to hold the paper because it is a little wet, and it helps to kind of get it cut. It's a little bit challenging, but I think it's important to cut it before it totally dries, or at least get it somewhat close to being cut properly. Okay, so now I'm taking a gel pen, and I'm using the technique that I did the other day with the cobblestones, because I just fell in love with this technique, and I'm letting the gel pen just follow along on all the nooks and crannies. So I'm skipping ahead here to show you what that looks like in progress, but we're just letting the gel pen on its own basically kind of follow any of the nooks and crannies. And I just simply adore this technique. I would love to do this piece on a wall. So if you don't know, in my early years, I did a lot of mural work. I did a lot of high-end faux finishing on walls, themed rooms and things of that nature. And I just can see this on the wall, like behind a reception's desk, the entire wall covered with this. It would just be unbelievable. But if you're new here, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. If there's things you want to see. If you're returning, thank you so much for returning. I'm so glad that you're all here. It really means a lot to me. My goal is strictly to share my process of rediscovering my creativity that I had put away for many years out of really frustration, which I'll talk about on another time. But this is I'm just sharing, hoping to inspire other people to be creative and giving them ideas that maybe excite them and get them moving with a little bit of exploration. So now I'm taking a Tombow, and I'm just adding a little tiny bit of color in the, I guess, the nooks or the crannies, the recessed areas of the wrinkles in the tissue paper is probably more appropriate. But the reason for that is I'm trying to create a little bit more depth, and basically I'm shadowing the crevices. And so you can see what's happening here. It's making it even more textural. And now some of the larger spots, I thought the line was a little too rough. So I'm just hitting that with a little bit of water to soften that line a little bit. But at the end, don't forget, I'll share the color palette, the color swatch from this piece. If you're inspired and want to create something similar, you can certainly grab that. Just let me know in the comments, and be sure to fill out Your Creativity Matters. The link is in the description box. And be sure to like and subscribe. Also, feel free to share. I'd love to reach anybody that's interested in this type of stuff. And now I'm taking a little bit of white gesso, and I'm doing almost a dry brush technique. I'm just ever so slightly running the brush across the high points of the piece, just to make them look like they have highlights. And it's just increasing the depth effect of this piece. And I just am so in love with it. I'm going to do another one. I just can't wait. But be sure to stick around. The materials used for this, I didn't actually put them in the end like I did, because it's really simple. Tissue paper, Mod Podge or some sort of glue, gesso. Okay, and here's the metallic watercolor set that I use. It is unnamed. I got it, at a bargain shop. The Tombow in a gray and a Sharpie gel pen. That's really all I used in this piece. Here's a sneak peek at the color swatch that you can grab if you'd like to replicate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.